more famous than this white man who was a senator. So in the end, I died at age 83. I died of old age, and the last week of my life, I went and sold vegetables to help the people who were freed slaves eat. I helped President Lincoln as a spy, and when the Emancipation Proclamation was signed to free all the slaves that were down here, way down in the South, they wouldn't get on the boats to free the slaves unless they saw me. And if I was on the boat, if Moses was on the boat, Harriet Tubman, then they would get on the boat and take it up north. So here's the most important thing about my life. I was born a barefoot slave. I worked hard every day of my life. And God and I were good partners. And I had lots of courage, and in the end, I think that God used my life, like those people that prayed over me. So when things get hard for you in your life, I want you to think about Harriet Tubman. And I want you to think about you can do anything because God will help you and you can get through. Do you have any questions for Harriet Tubman today? This class usually has lots of questions. Did you look? Yes?
Was it like one of those small boats or one of the big ones?
Well, in my 19 trips, I rode on lots of kind of boats. But in the end, when I came to get the slaves, those were the big old boats. But when I was on the railroad, they were tiny boats. Sometimes there wasn't enough room in the boats for us. We would have to swim through. And I was telling the Head Start kids last hour that there were snakes in that water, and there were muskrats, and there were beavers, and there were critters that bit you. There were a lot of perils out there, but I just kept going, and I knew it would be okay. And God took care of me. But I was scared. A lot of times I was scared. Yes?
What kind of gun did you have?
What kind of gun did I have?
Pistol.
I don't know the specifics, I have to say. It was a gun that someone on the railroad gave me, and they were afraid it would keep me safe someday. And actually, the only time I really used it was around animals. I was afraid that maybe one of the bear might get one of the children, because we would hide up in, way far away. When we had babies with us, I would take whiskey and I would feed the babies whiskey. Well, if it's the middle of the day and the baby's crying, and you have the choice of having the dogs find you or have the baby have a little whiskey, you just gave the baby a little whiskey. Yes?
Good.
Did you hear the question? He said, what is a chain gang? Well, the chain gang is where they would go down south. That was down here in Georgia and South Carolina, where they were even crueler to slaves. And they would put you on chains, and you would have to sleep on the chains and go to the bathroom on the chains. I mean, you would never, ever get off the chains. And you would have to work 16 hours a day, and they were very cruel to you. So that was the worst thing. Who asked about the chain gangs? You did. So that was the thing they always were threatening, and we all knew that they were awful. Yes? What did we eat? Blackberries. I got pretty smart because people knew I was coming through, and they would sometimes leave out stuff for me to eat. And so we would sometimes have apples, but basically what we could find, nuts. But, blackberries. Do you like blackberries? Well, I got real tired of them. But people would give us, when we would usually go in groups of about 15. And we would take, like you have backpacks today, I guess I'm told about backpacks. We would take, rucksacks. And in it we would put food. And whatever they would give us, we ate anything. We ate lard. Fat. Because it had a lot of energy in it. And that was fine.
Made you
And
fat,
whatever
you won't be able to run it all.
Any more questions? Well, my hope is that when you go away to middle school next year and school gets hard, or things, oh, I'm sorry, young man, you have a question.
What they working with?
Whips. And sometimes if they wanted to get really ugly, which they did, they would put metal on the whips, and they would rake it through the skin. And you've seen pictures. If you haven't, you should find them. Oprah has a book out called Beloved that has some real...
movie.
And another good movie that'd be good for you to see is the movie Amistad.
I saw that.
If you've not seen it, it's a good movie to see because it's a true story.
Or the color.
Yes.
Have they ever whipped me?
Have there what we what? Bullwhip. Oh yeah, I got bullwhip. Yeah. Yes.
Did you ever get whipped with, like, they put water and salt on it?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
Water and
So
salt.
here's what I want you to remember. The whooping's not the most important part. The most important part is courage and bravery. And that's what I had. And when you have to live your life, there's going to be times when terrible things will happen to you. And I want you to remember me. I want you to remember Harriet Tubman. And I don't care how bad your life is, it probably is not going to be hard as mine. But I want you to remember to have bravery and to have courage and to keep going. Because I believe that maybe one of you in this class might be the next Harriet Tubman. Me. It could be. You don't know. Thank you very much. It was a pleasure coming to you.